it's at AmericanResources.org. Our initials are ARPN. On Twitter, it's ARP Network, ARPN, big letters, and then network after that. We try to tweet fairly actively. We try to blog fairly actively. We are a 501c3. We are an experts organization. That's how I wanted to try to stand it up. I like to say we want to be your resource when it comes to questions you have. We have a lot of overlap, and I think all of us together could answer or point you to the answers that you're looking for on any of these issues, particularly as they intersect policy. I do go out to mines. I'm not looking for prospects. My objective when I go to the Molycorp mine, which is 360 feet deep, is to not fall in, things like that, and then to take in as much information as I can. But over the time that I spent looking at resource issues and the geopolitics of resource issues, I've learned a lot about the mechanics of mining, and be happy to talk about all these things with you as we proceed today. We're an experts organization. Therefore, I've got about 12 to 15 people affiliated with American Resource Policy Network right now. Got some folks from the Colorado School of Mines, have a woman, an academic from MIT, who looks at critical materials and their availability. Some folks from Europe who are at the cutting edge on corporate social responsibility as practiced in the mining space. That gives you a bit of a sense, and I don't want to overlook anybody else, but as a group, you can go and you can tab on people that are affiliated with American Resources, and then we try to keep you current on what they're doing, what they're talking about, particularly when it has a policy dynamic to it. If there was nothing else, we have, excuse me, no internet all day. There's really just a couple things. Izzy mentioned rare earths. So I'd ask everybody to set your phones on vibrate, not because we don't want the phones to ring, but because when you set them on vibrate, it's rare earths magnets in there that are causing the vibration. So just think from now on, set your phones on rare earths, okay, at all times.
There's also 17 other minerals in your cell phone.
Chock full of them. And in tiny, tiny, tiny concentrations. So you say to yourself, how much do you need? Well, how many of these do we have, right? Quite a lot. And then there's other utilities like your average wind turbine, which are much bigger than anybody would guess. Once, you know, they build to stick out in the ocean, which take how much copper for?
4.7 tons.
4.7 tons per turbine. 1 ton of neodymium rare earth, just one of the 17 rare earths. 1 ton needed for them. So I like to say I'm trying to concentrate on non-fuel resources, but metals are kind of unruly because when it comes to the rare earths, for instance, they're important for CFL light bulbs, solar power, wind turbines, wind power, electric battery components that we're working on to electrify the automobile, right? So here they come into the energy space as well, even though they're not petroleum-based. So these are the issues we're looking at. The other one, as we mentioned, and it's in the packet, this is what I like to call the single scariest page to come off a government printing press. This is page 6 of the USGS report. U.S. net import reliance on selected non-fuel mineral materials. That's a mouthful. The deep blue you see up on the top is when the United States, for this material, metal or mineral, is 100% dependent. You get a big blue bar. When we sort stone and lime, we're good at that. 99% of the stone and lime we use is sourced here. 1% comes from somewhere else. The rare earths are 100% up here at the top. But so are many, many other metals. Unfortunately, these are all tend to be integral to the technology that we rely on every day. I would say fortunately for us as a country, in many instances, we have known reserves, which we're mining lightly. We could mine more vigorously. We could make more attempts to create a better, stronger, and more sure supply domestically in the United States. I pay attention to the geopolitics, right? I want to know over time the legitimate questions that people can ask about what's the environmental impact. That's a great question. I want people to think about if we don't mine it here because we're concerned about the environmental impact, but we buy it from Myanmar or North Korea or somewhere else on the global market where it's bank shotted into our products. If we buy it from DRC Congo, what's the economic impact? What's the human rights impact? I think, and you guys are integral to this, those questions have to be looked at all the time. You need to come back around and say, are we better off producing it here with the care that we take in the United States, in our constraints, in our laws, or are we just going to pretend that we get it from somewhere else and really not ask a lot of questions about where the stuff comes from in these devices that we're so reliant on? If you're concerned about oil imports, which we have about 57, 58% daily dependence on foreign oil, you can look on this list, you're going to have to take my word for it, but oil would come in right about here. And we're absolutely crazy about that. We talk about it in terms of addiction. We talk about it, we know it factors over into our foreign policy and our security policy. Well, there's 40 metals and minerals above it, if you want to look at that. That's why I regard this as a scary page. Are we really paying attention to it? I know you guys have budget issues, debt issues, you got stuff staring you right in the face for yourselves, for your members every day, right? This issue is with us right now. It's underneath the economic concerns we have. It's underneath the national security concerns we have. It's underneath the green tech desires we have to create a green tech manufacturing. But we can't because we don't have the precursor metals here. So it's going to happen in China, right? So there it is. And if we can, as a group, help you get to those questions and answer questions that you have and infuse it into what you're doing here, that's a great thing. Thanks.